All right, I hope this finds everybody doing well at home. I know this is a little strange, kind of doing our lessons from home and not being able to meet at school afterwards to kind of go over the lessons. So I'm actually re-recording these lessons. I'm not going to use my videos from last year just so I can kind of go through things just a little bit more, and I kind of adjusted things a little bit in terms of what you guys need to write down. So I did provide a set of notes if you want to print those off at home, but you are more than welcome just to write them out on your own sheet of paper. But I still do want you to use your kind of Cornell setup. You're still going to have your questions off to the left. You guys are going to be answering those on your own kind of the next day. Make sure you have your essential question down. What is the main idea of what we're doing? And our title. And then just do your best as you are writing out the notes. I try to trim down the notes from what they used to be, so there's a little bit less for you to write out. But just try to make things a little easier and do a little more thorough job of explaining things, just because you're not going to be able to see me the next day in class to kind of go over this. You're going to have to really rely on the videos to kind of help you get through these. So this one is on calculating the mean, and we're going to start with our first piece of vocabulary. The mean of a set of data is the sum, so this is where our vocabulary is going to come in. The sum means we're going to add of the data divided by the number of pieces of data we have. I always like to think of it as it's the balance for a set of data. It's kind of that happy medium between the highs and the lows. But it's really as straightforward as that. You're going to add your pieces together and then divide by how many numbers you had all together. Here's what that looks like. Here's what I expect you to write down. This one said Alan earned $23, $26, $25, $24, $23, $24, $6, $24, and $23 again, doing some gardening. What is the mean? Or sometimes you'll hear it called the average. Those both mean the same thing. They're two different words for the same idea. What is the mean of the amounts he earned? So all that means is we're going to add together our numbers. So 23 plus 26 plus 25 plus 24 plus 23 plus 24 plus 6, you had an off week, plus 24 plus 23. When you add all of those up, you're going to get 198. And yes, a calculator is absolutely fine in this unit. Then you're going to divide by how many numbers you had. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's always good to check in the problem itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces. So we're going to divide by 9. And we're going to get an answer of $22. That's the average amount of money that he made at his gardening job. It's kind of a balance between the good weeks and the bad weeks, and it kind of finds a happy medium in the middle. This right here is the work you need to have written down for every single mean or average problem. What did you get when you total them up? What did you divide by? And then what did you get for an answer? All three of those pieces have to be written down for each problem. All right, so we're going to do 2 more. Now, if you are writing these out on your own, you are more than welcome to draw out the tables and charts, but if you need to kind of skimp a little bit or just write down the basics for these, I'm okay, just because I know you have a lot to write down. If you've printed out sets of notes, it's already there for you. But all we're going to do is we're going to calculate the mean, the average for this set of data. This first one is a pictograph, basically meaning each picture represents an amount. In this case, my key says that for each little stick figure, that means it's 1 swimmer. So for Amberly, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 swimmers. For Carlton, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here we had just 6 for Hamilton. And then for West High, we had a total of 10. So to find the mean, we're simply going to add them up. 9 plus 11 plus 6 plus 10. And that gives me a total of 36. There was 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. So I'm going to divide by 4. And I get an average of 9 swimmers. Simply add up all your data, divide by the number of terms, and you get your average of 9. Same thing here. Different snowfalls in different months of the year. We want to find the average or the mean snowfall per month. So we add them up. 20 plus 19, whoop, plus 20 plus 17 plus 4. We had that light month in March. We get a total of 80 inches over those 5 months. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, or 5 sets of data. So we're dividing by 5, and we get 16 inches of snow. That's a lot of snow in a given month, but our average is 16. We had a couple months that are a little higher. We had a couple months that are a little lower. In fact, we had one month that's really low, so that kind of pulled everything down to that 16. It's kind of a balance between those highs and those lows. All right, so now's a chance for you to try a couple. So I want you to copy these two down, pause, solve them for yourself, tell me what you got for your answers, and then we'll go over them here together. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the problems. So this one says, what is the mean cost of the amount of gas? So this is how much somebody spent for gas over a series of weeks or a series of stops. We just want to know what's the average amount that they were paying or that they were spending. So we simply add them up. 17 plus 18 plus 22 plus 15 plus 17 plus 16 plus 25 plus 21 plus 20. And you're simply going to add them all up in your calculator. A good suggestion is when you're adding up a large series of numbers, add them twice. If you get the same answer both times, you know you've done it correctly, but it's very easy to mistype something in your calculator, so double checking it before you move on to anything else is a good habit to get into. For this one, I got a total of 171. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces of data, so I'm going to divide by 9. In this case, I would get $19 as the average amount I spent. Next one's a little tricky, so hopefully you paid attention to your key. Your key says for each checker piece, it represents 4 people. So here I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces that each represent 4, so 6 times 4 is 24. Here I just had 1, so that represents 4 pieces. Here I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 checkers. They're each 4, so 8 times 4 is 32. And then here I had 5 of them. 5 times 4 is 20. So add those all up, and I get a total of 80. I'm going to divide by 4 because there are 4 sets of data, or 4 pieces, and that's going to give me an answer of 20 checkers. I swear that really does say checkers there. Okay. Now, remember we talked about you've got to show me what did you get for your total, what did you divide by, and then what did you get for your answer. But then we also talked about the mean as kind of being the average. It's the balance between those two. So you'll notice that some of these columns had large numbers, some of these had smaller ones. But if you think of balancing them out, so say I were to take these 3 and add them here, and then I were to take 1 from here and add them here, notice how each of them had 5 groupings of 4. 5 groups of 4 is 20. You're basically taking from the high ones, you're giving them to the low ones, and trying to find a happy medium, a balance between those two. That's what we're doing when we're finding the mean. All right, last part. This part's a little tricky. So I'm going to walk you through one so you can kind of see it, but don't get too concerned about this. We'll come back to this later on in the unit, but I just wanted you to kind of see it and see how it makes sense to you. And there's a couple different ways of tackling it. But this one is working backwards, and we'll use this example here. Jamila babysat 9 times. She earned $15, $20, $10, $12, $20, $16, $80, and $18 for the 8 babysitting jobs. So that's how much she earned 8 of the times, but she babysat a total of 9 times, meaning I'm missing one. We want to know how much did she earn the 9th time if the mean is 24, meaning she made a total of $24 on average. We want to know what that last job was to make sure we hit that exactly at 24. So start with what you know. We know she made 15 one day, 20 another, plus 10, plus 12, plus 20, plus 16, plus 80. That was a really good day. Maybe she was there all day. And 18 plus something. we don't know, but we know we're going to have to add them all up. Then we're going to divide by 9 because we're going to have 9 total. And we know we want an answer of 24. So there are a couple different ways of solving this one. One way is just guess a number. Plug in a number there, add them all up, divide by 9, see if you get 24. If it doesn't give you exactly 24, you need to adjust. Maybe go a little higher, maybe go a little lower, but you're just kind of bouncing back and forth, trying different numbers until you find one that gives that answer of 24. Another way to do it is to think kind of like we did in our geometry unit. We would set up our equation and then we'd work the problem backwards. So here, I was dividing by 9. So to go backwards, I would multiply by 9. I could do that on both sides. 24 times 9, I'm going to do that quick. That would give me 216. If I were to add up all the pieces I do know, so add up the ones you know, so 15 plus 20 plus 10 plus 12 plus 20 plus 16 plus 80 plus 18. That gives me 191 plus my unknown number. So 191 plus something has to give me 216. Well, again, think of it like our geometry unit. We just want to work it backwards. So if they were adding, I just want to subtract 191. 216 minus 191 says my missing number, or something we can call it x, is going to be $25. So basically we set up the problem with everything that we knew. We kind of left that missing piece in there, and then we kind of worked it backwards. Now, that's just one method for doing it. Other people will have different methods for getting it, and that's totally fine. But that's just one way of tackling that problem. And we'll kind of come back to this type of problem later in the unit and work on it a little bit more.